What's up guys, my name is Ace, and while Call of Duty Vanguard did launch with a lot of multiplayer content, I have definitely noticed that it feels like several different features are missing from the game currently, and I would love to see these added down the road, so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Just to be clear, many of these features are likely just being sort of held in the background, and they will be released over time since Call of Duty has moved over to more of a game as a service model, and over the past couple years, we've seen many of these features added throughout the year when they weren't present at launch. But that's definitely not going to stop me from mentioning these features because I do feel they are important. So hopping right in, one of the big features that I was fully expecting to be in Vanguard but isn't there is the firing range. And the reason I expected it so much this time around, even though we haven't had it for the past couple years, is that's sort of the big innovation that Sledgehammer brought to the Call of Duty franchise. With their very first solo entry into Call of Duty with Advanced Warfare, they introduced the firing range for the first time ever, and it was a pretty big hit. This also returned in COD World War II, which was Sledgehammer's second title, so of course, for their third title, I fully expected to see the firing range there, and unfortunately it isn't. And with so many unique attachments this time around, I feel like a firing range is more necessary than ever before in Call of Duty, and yet we still don't have it. So I was a bit disappointed to see that it's not there currently, and I do hope it's one of those things we'll be seeing down the road. Now, speaking of all these crazy attachments and setups that we can make this time around, they're crazier than we've ever seen in Call of Duty. Unfortunately, at this point, we have no ability to save our custom attachment combinations. So once you have that perfect attachment combo for a particular gun, you can't save that, and then when you want to apply it to a different class setup, it's just saved there and ready to go with all of your favorite attachments. You have to build it again from scratch. And it can be hard to remember that sometimes. If you accidentally overwrite your favorite class setup, you may not remember exactly which attachments you had on there, and you have to sort of start from scratch with that. So again, this is another one of those features that I do think is likely to be coming at some point, but I really hope it's going to be sooner rather than later, especially with how many different attachments we put on our guns this year. Now, something that's quite related to that same topic of being able to save things and having that efficiency of being able to save our custom setups, something that would be huge for me as somebody that does a ton of testing in custom games, is the ability to save our custom match settings. I am aware that this is a feature that most people would never actually utilize. A lot of people never even play custom games. But it's something I wanted to include on this list because it would go a long way for someone like me that does do a lot of that custom match testing, and I need to get those settings just perfect every single time in order to get my testing done properly and consistently. Moving on, let's talk about a feature that is really hit or miss for Call of Duty, and this is theater mode. Now, to be fair, when it came to theater mode this time around, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be in Vanguard. I was just sort of hoping that they would bring it with Vanguard. And to me, I feel theater mode should be one of those staple things. It's just a part of every Call of Duty game, but that's simply not the case. It's really hit or miss. It's primarily just in Treyarch games, especially recently. So who knows, maybe theater mode is never actually going to be returning to Call of Duty, but I just wanted to share it in today's video. It is one of those features that I've loved in the past with Call of Duty, and it's simply not here for Vanguard. As for the next feature that has been heavily requested since the launch of Vanguard, and I think a lot of people were expecting it to be there, this is the in-game weapon inspect option. And this is a feature that started with Modern Warfare Remastered. We also saw it in COD World War II, which was Sledgehammer's most recent Call of Duty game. We saw it in Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare, as well as in Cold War. Although if I remember correctly, it wasn't there at launch for Cold War. It did come down the road. And I suspect it's going to be a similar story this time around. I feel like Weapon Inspect is likely in the works, and it's something they will be adding down the road. As of right now, we do have our emote wheel where we can do emotes in-game. We just don't have the Weapon Inspect option, so I feel like they're just going to be adding it to that wheel, exactly how they did with Cold War. As for the next thing on my list, this isn't necessarily a feature, this is an actual in-game item that I was hoping that we would see this time around for Vanguard, and this is a trophy system, or something that performs like a trophy system. Now, I get the argument that this is a World War II setting, and a trophy system likely wouldn't fit with that setting because it never really existed, as far as I'm aware, at least back in those days. But having said that, it's pretty clear that, at least for multiplayer, they're not all that concerned about realism or historical accuracy. I mean, we're in a World War II setting and we're still playing Team A against Team B, where twins are fighting against each other on different sides. And then if you have a look at the optic attachments, they're just absolutely ridiculous for a World War II setting if we're looking at actual authenticity. So I don't think a trophy system as a field upgrade would really tip the scales and take it over the edge for people and push them away, and I do feel like it's the type of thing that would overall improve the gameplay experience. As for the next one, this is something that I fully expect we will be seeing at some point down the road, but again, I wanted to bring it up in this video because I hope it comes sooner rather than later. This is the addition of party game modes. As of right now, we're still just 1 week in, we're in the preseason, and we've really just got the basic modes as of right now. We don't have anything too crazy, and we don't have any sort of party-style game modes like Gun Game or Infected or One in the Chamber, and I really hope these come soon because those are excellent modes for sort of breaking up the monotony of regular multiplayer, or a lot of the times regular multiplayer just becomes too stressful or you're not really interested in playing that super competitive stressful experience and you just want to chill with friends and play something a little more laid back that's just meant to be pure fun. So yeah, that's something I really hope they start introducing even with Season 1. After that, let's get into something that I'm really looking forward to, and again, this is something I suspect will be added down the road. And this is Specialist. And I'm not talking the Specialist like in Black Ops 4 where you have like hero abilities on your character. I'm talking like the Specialist Strike package that was introduced in Modern Warfare 3, where instead of getting your kill streak rewards, you can give those up and earn perks for going on a streak. So every 2 kills, for instance, you would get a different perk, and you can select which order you earn those perks in, and then once you get to something like an 8 kill streak, you'll get a Specialist bonus, which will give you access to every perk in the game, as long as your streak is still going on. This adds so much replayability and so much more depth to the gameplay experience, and I love having the option to sacrifice my kill streak rewards in order to potentially gain every perk in the game. I love that feeling of hitting that Specialist bonus and feeling kind of like a super soldier, but also knowing that at any moment if I get killed, I have to start from scratch and work my way back up. And this is something that's actually in most Call of Duty games that aren't made by Treyarch. However, I did look back into this a little bit, and I forgot the fact that COD World War II didn't add the Specialist bonus until June, which was like 8 months after the game launched. And I really hope we don't see a repeat of that this time around in Vanguard. I suspect it is something they have planned and it's in the works and it will be coming in the future, but please don't make us wait until June next year. This is something that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there as well, especially those people that like to hunt for those V2 rockets. Moving on, another heavily requested feature that I've been seeing float around the community that we haven't seen yet in Vanguard is the ability to vote for the next map. Now this one's a little bit tricky since lobbies are disbanding, which is unfortunate. And that means oftentimes when you search for a game, you don't even really get the opportunity to sit in a lobby between matches. You basically just get into a game and then it starts up right away. But having said that, I still feel like having the ability to vote for maps for those that are waiting in a lobby, that could go a long way into improving players' experiences, especially with how many maps we have available in Vanguard at launch. One thing I've noticed is even after a week of playtime, there's a few maps that I've only played a couple times in an entire week of playing the game. And I'd like to play them a little bit more often, but I have zero control over that. I can't vote for any of the maps I play in. I just get into the lobby, and if it happens to be that map, great. If not, too bad, I'm playing a different map. So it would be nice to at least have some control over that sometimes. And I do hope this is a feature they are willing to add. I don't think this is something they have planned, but it's something that I hope we can see. Now we're almost through the list, we just got a couple more to cover. One thing that I noticed isn't there yet that we have been seeing for quite some time in Call of Duty now is daily and weekly challenges. This is something that some people don't care about, they don't interact with at all, but for many people, they love logging in every day and making sure they complete their daily challenges every single day. And in doing so, you could be getting rewards like more double XP tokens, and that's a high value item that a lot of people want to have. So it would be nice to have that extra layer of engagement on top of everything that's already going on in the game for those that like those daily and or weekly challenges. And finally, there's one last feature that I would like to see added, and honestly, I don't even know if this is just bugged out and not working at the moment or if it's intentionally left out. But something I've noticed while playing Vanguard is you can't see when enemy players are partied up together. The only real indication you'll have is whether or not they're using the same clan tag. If they have the same clan tag, they're likely playing together. And it's interesting because they do have the feature in place where you can see who's on your party. You have that little bar next to the names in the lobby. It'll be like a green bar that will show everybody that's in your party. But for some reason, at least at this point, I haven't seen any indication of that displaying for enemy parties. And I think that's just as important, if not more important, than seeing who's in your party, so you kind of know what to expect going into that game. Is it going to be a much more difficult match because it looks like people are working together and they're coordinated as a squad? Or are you playing against a bunch of solo players and therefore you can probably relax a little bit or maybe grind one of those guns that are off meta? In the game's current state, you don't really know until you get into the match and then you kind of figure it out for yourself. And unfortunately, this might be something that they are intentionally hiding to prevent people from backing out when they see that there's a full party in the game. So in that sense, I kind of get it, but I also feel like it is important to be upfront about that so people can prepare accordingly when they get into a match. I guess a second part to that as well, something that I'd love to see in the future for Vanguard, is a Mercenary playlist, something that you can only play as a solo player, and that way, if you play in that playlist, you know for sure you're not playing against a party. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on the top 10 features that I feel are missing from Vanguard and I'd love to see added down the road. Now, of course, this is just my list. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Is there any other feature or item in the game that you'd like to see added to Vanguard in the future? And also, what do you think about the things that are on my list? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.